Hi, my darlings, and welcome to Confidence Leads to Success interview series. This is your daily dose of confidence booster interviews with amazing women around the world. I am so happy to have these because I know that confidence has a huge impact in everyone's life. Let it be through our appearance, let it be our health, let it be our wellness. We seem to all have some issues here and there. So I have brought together these leaders and professionals in their own field and talk about how their field affect the confidence of human being and woman being. So I have got the wonderful Rebecca here with me. Rebecca Hild is a visionary leaders coach. She's a nutritionist. She's just wonderful, and I've bumped into her when I was networking on LinkedIn, and we've connected. And everything and anything that she shares, it's always been very eye-opening for me. And all those things that we've been told about dieting and all those things about nutrition and what not to eat and what to eat and how to lose weight was a lie, ladies. This is why I thought Rebecca would add a huge value to these interview series with her knowledge and her experience helping number of directors around the world and how she helps them with her programs and transforms their life and well-being. So welcome, Rebecca. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very, very much for having me. I feel very humbled actually to be here today. So thank you very much. And yes, you have given me a fantastic introduction there. My name is Rebecca Heald, and my business is transformational nutrition. So as you said, I work with leaders, directors, business owners to help transform their health and their well-being. And of course, giving them back confidence, energy, motivation is a massive part of that. So yes, super excited to talk about that today.
Amazing. I'm sure a lot of the ladies would like to hear more about there is always these super fast diets that we get into and starve ourselves to death. And then you do lose the weight at times and sometimes you don't. I've done them many times myself. And then before you know it, whoop, all that weight that you lost comes back on you. And then that always makes me feel, you know, I don't feel confident. I just think I can never lose weight. I can never have the I mean, my weight isn't my issue. I do lose weight for health reasons because I have got my knee aches. And since I put more weight since the birth, it's getting worse. So I feel like there is some extra pounds that I need to shift. But I think that that tradition of weight loss is being starve yourself, don't eat anything.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. It would be nice you to enlighten us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there, and I think with the leaders that I'm working with, they find themselves under a lot of pressure to be everything to everybody and to look good, yeah, and to be in control and to be confident. And the women that I'm working with on the outside appear to be very confident. They're running their own businesses, they're juggling family life, and they are extremely successful. But deep down, they're struggling a lot of the time internally with confidence, with belief in their own abilities. And a lot of it does stem from poor body image and messaging that we receive from the moment we're born, to be quite honest, about how we should be listening to external rules, following external guidelines when it comes to nutrition, which fundamentally erodes the trust that we have in our own bodies, which erodes our self-esteem, leads to, like you mentioned there, leads to this feeling that you are failing. And when you feel that you are failing, of course, it chips away at your confidence. The women I work with, they're like, I can do this at work. You know, I'm managing work, I'm running a successful business, I'm a leader in my industry. So why can't I just get a grip on my diet? Why can't I manage my weight? Why can't I manage my fitness?
You're explaining me. That's me.
No, this is it. And the beauty of it is that I show the women that I work with and the men. I work with men. I work with a number of men as well. I show them how they've got the skills. They've got everything that they need. It's there. It's just being squashed by all of this noise out there. But like I said, it's not just what we're hearing every day in the media. It's not just what we're hearing every day we look on Facebook or Instagram. These are subliminal messages that we're hearing from childhood. You know, like, you have to finish everything on your plate. Well, as a child, you are perfectly in tune with your body and what it needs and how much you need to regulate your weight or to grow and develop. Yet we have people telling us that we have to finish everything on our plate, or we can't have dessert. Or you think about when babies, okay, I love sharing this analogy. You think about it. So you've got babies in a high chair. How many times have you seen or done yourself the aeroplane to try and get your baby to eat more food because you've made this food and you need your and what do the babies do? They sit there with their lips pursed shut, and it's like, come on, just a little bit more. That baby knows it's had enough. That baby's body is communicating with him or her to tell them, you've had enough food now. We're good to go. Yeah, as parents, as caregivers, we're saying, no, you need to trust mummy. You need to listen to mummy. So even babies, we are told that we need to be listening to external ways in order to manage our nutrition, and this just escalates as we grow older. So we lack trust in our own bodies and our ability to nourish ourselves properly, and we think that somebody else knows better than us, so we'll try this fad diet, that fad diet, and fundamentally, you're not the one failing. The diet or the approach is failing you because it's not built for you. It's not made for you. It's not made with you in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about the diet industry, you know, it is the best recurring business model. How many times, I mean, this would be a great for you actually, but just think to yourself, okay, you go to a shop and you buy a dress, okay, and the zip breaks, and you take it back to the shop and you go home again and the zip breaks again. You'd go back and get a refund. You wouldn't blame yourself, would you? So why is it every time we try a diet and it fails us, we think we're the problem?
That is such a good analogy. I love that. True.
So I guess the way that and like I said, and it leads to, and of course as well, there is this thin ideal. So we're living in a culture where the messaging is that in order to think about it, the higher you go up as well, the more exclusive the shop that you're shopping in, the more designer that the clothes become, often the smaller the sizing becomes as well. So there's this messaging that as you become successful, as you make money, you need to be slim and beautiful and look a certain way. So there's this culturally thin ideal that again is putting pressure on successful women to look a certain way.
Yeah.
So they're trying to manipulate their body weight, they're trying to manipulate their size rather than embracing who they are and being true to them.
Oh, I love these, Rebecca. Oh, you touch my heart. So true. So many women I work with and I dress, they always come in and feeling the same.
Yeah. And
it's so important.
It is. And the ironic thing is that when we are not loving our bodies, when we're not feeling confident in our bodies, when we are trying to manipulate the way we eat to manipulate our size and shape, we actually end up pushing our weight up often. We're either not fueling ourselves enough, or we are, often we are ending up not finding our natural point, naturally where we're supposed to be. The thing is, no two women are ever supposed to be the same. Some of us are meant to be bigger, some of us are meant to be smaller. And we need to get back in touch with our bodies to guide us and show us where it is that we need to be. Because trust me, even if you are managing your weight right now where you shouldn't be, it's going to be unhealthy, it's going to be unhappy. So I meet lots of people who are like, well, I've got to eat like this because if I don't, I'm going to gain weight. And they're living miserable lives. They're living on lettuce leaves. They've got the discipline. They've got the discipline, but they're miserable. They're not socializing. They can't go out for meals. They can't go out for drinks because they're terrified of gaining weight. Well, if being in a smaller body, is that important that you're missing out on life? Then I don't know. I question.
I love that. Don't miss out life. Eat the cake. If you have to eat in proportion, don't eat the whole cake, eat a tiny slice of it. But
I love that as well, because there's this whole notion of moderation and balance. Now don't get me wrong, we all need moderation and balance in our lives, but again, diet culture has latched onto this and said, oh yeah, you can have a little bit but don't have too much. Well, again, that's true to a certain extent, but actually when you listen to your body and you're not restricting, your body will guide you, and your body is going to feel the best. You are going to have the most energy when you're fueling it right. When you're, when you're focusing on nutrient dense foods, when you're focusing on, cooking from scratch as much as possible, your body is going to feel best. You're going to be honoring and respecting it. And then there will still be a place for all of those fun foods, what I like to call fun foods, because this is the thing, people moralize food. They talk about food, bad food, good food, junk food, clean food. Let's stop that. Let's start neutralizing food. Let's see food as all good. Food is all good food. Yes, there is food that is more nutritionally valuable and food that is less nutritionally valuable, but emotionally it should all be equal, because every food that you enjoy should have a place in your life. And when you're listening to your body and letting it guide you, that balance will find itself. You don't need to. I was talking to a client recently and she was talking about, I know I need moderation. I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So what does moderation mean to you? And she goes, well, only having bread 3 times a week. And I'm like, no, again, you're trying to stick to rules that aren't going to work. They're not going to stick. Let's stop this restriction and let's think, actually, let me just listen to what feels good. If you're listening to what feels good, you'll know that 6 chocolate bars in a row is not going to feel good. You'll know that too many processed carbohydrates don't feel good. But a little bit in the context of a healthy diet is good. It feels good emotionally and physically.
I love that. It's so true. I mean, it's like I have given up alcohol over a year now, right at the beginning of the lockdown, just because I decided that it was giving me real bad headaches and I just wanted to have a clear vision. And having a little child, lockdown, business closed, I just thought if I let the alcohol, I will just be taking over and drinking it. And I didn't want to allow it. So I gave myself 10 days of detox. It wasn't like a planned give up. And I felt so good. I didn't realize how much it was exhausting me.
Yeah.
And I don't say I will never ever drink, but I'm listening my heart, listening my body. So my body tells me don't drink it. So it makes me feel good.
And you make it. That's the thing is as well is that we should never judge anybody. We're always in charge of the choices that we want to make. And the other thing is again though, it's like so many times I'll see people that go, right, that's it now, I'm giving up alcohol, I'm never drinking again. And they'll last 5 or 6 days and then they'll end up binging because they've restricted it and that's all they can think about. And so I think finding, and this is the thing, like you said, there were, you were thinking, right, okay, alcohol's not agreeing with me.
It didn't agree with me. So I listened to my body, and every time when I sat down and my husband opened a bottle of champagne, I'd say, I don't think I'm going to have one. It wasn't like I don't want to, I shouldn't drink. My body was saying, don't take it.
Yeah.
So I listened to my body. I still am listening to my body, and my body tells me not to go for that rule. But I don't say I'm never giving up. But what happened is last week, a couple of weeks ago, I went to my friend's house garden. She had a birthday drinks, and I said, "Oh, I'm not drinking. Not is there anything like non-alcoholic? Because that's a drink too." That's a drink also. And everybody went, what? Why are you not drinking? How can you not drink? And I said, as far as I remember, you're vegetarian. She said, yeah. How can you not eat meat? I said, oh, well, I said, exactly. That's why I don't drink. Why don't you eat meat? So I would never question you. Why do you question me drinking? So it was like, I think the rules and that putting people into boxes doesn't work for me.
That pressure. I mean, I love what you said there, because I often work with clients on building the confidence as well, like you say, to say no, and because the amount of times it's like, oh, well, I'm going to a barbecue, I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to have to. Well, no, if you're deciding you don't want to drink because it doesn't feel good, and it's you're not doing it just because you're on another diet, because that's often when people will force you, oh, well, go on then, you've forced me, you've twisted my arm, because really they don't want to not drink. They're just doing it because they're seeing it as another way to manage or manipulate their weight. Whereas when you're doing it from a place that is listening to your body, respecting your body, then you are more in power of those decisions. Because it's a little bit like, I had one client and she was talking to me on the session. She was like, oh, it's something that seems to have clicked, Rebecca. She said, my boys were having a takeaway this weekend, and now normally I wouldn't have the pizza with them. She said, "Oh, I decided not to." She goes, "But because I was on a diet." She said, "I was always on a diet." So I was like, "No, no, no, I don't want the pizza." And then any leftovers, she said, I would end up devouring them. She said, "This weekend," she goes, "I didn't want it." She says, I knew I could have that pizza because I always said, you have got permission to eat any food you want. Now, genuinely, not with, oh, you can eat that as long as you don't eat too much, or you can eat that as long as it fits your macros. No,
Yeah.
because that is still, you could be mentally dieting. So I talk about diet mentality without physically dieting. So you could be allowing yourselves the food you enjoy, but if you're doing it from a place of, I still need to be careful, I still need to pull it back, then you still are stuck in a diet mentality. But anyway, she said to me, she goes, "I didn't want the pizza with the boys." And it felt okay. I didn't feel deprived. I didn't feel, because I was doing it because I genuinely did not want it. I didn't fancy it. I knew it was going
That
to
shift in your mindset makes a huge difference. That's exactly what happened with I used to smoke as well. I gave up smoking long time ago now. It's been, well, over 15 years, but I would come back to become a social smoker. I would smoke when when we're in a party. And I decided again, something in my mindset, I shifted. And it was like recognizing joy with drink and a cigarette. And it's like your mindset tells you, if you're having fun, you got to drink.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't do that. You don't go to a barbecue party and say, "Come on, we've got the barbecue going," to a vegan to eat a piece of steak.
And this is about honouring and respecting other people and not judging them.
That's
And
right.
it's hard because of the society that we live in. And don't get me wrong, I haven't got it nailed everywhere across the board. I've got deep rooted beliefs and experiences from myself being a child. But you've got to be curious about this. If you're going to start judging somebody, be curious about why. The other thing that I always say to people, like you said, and having the confidence to execute your decisions is so important. And like I said, when you're making those decisions from a place of honouring and respecting and trusting your body, is easier. But I think as well, this whole idea that we're living in a society where it's okay to talk about our bodies and shame our bodies, and, oh, you've put weight on, or you've lost weight. Let's stop it. Let's stop talking about each other's bodies, and let's
Stop giving too much meaning to it.
yes, exactly.
Stop it. Yeah.
And I've got clients as well that are, one recently, she said to me, I was meeting my friend because I was dreading. This is so sad. She said, I was meeting my friend for the first time after lockdown. Not seen her for, nearly a year, she said. And the first thing, I was really stressed out because I put on weight. This client was telling me, she goes, I was really, really stressed out. I didn't want to go. I was crying on my bed before I went. And then when I went, the first thing I said to her when I walked into that room is, "Oh, I know I've put on weight," and I made a joke of it. And it's like, it's really, really sad. It's really, really sad that we feel that our friends, our best friends, and are going to judge us because we've put a few pounds on or lost a few pounds.
Yeah.
Or we are so stressed out about meeting other people because of our appearance.
I agree with you. I have actually talked about it the other day, and it's like how people give so much meaning on their appearance. I love dressing women, and everything about clothing, dressing them is about giving them the choice. And no matter what size you are, what color that suits you, we'll make it to suit you. Clothes are not made so you have to fit them. Clothes should be made to fit you, and you are not the problem. The clothes are.
Same with nutrition and diets. Yeah.
Exactly. This is why I thought you'd be an amazing person to talk about, because so many women out there giving too much meaning on our body rather than forgetting the meaning of our being.
And the other thing as well, and whenever a client comes to me, and most of my clients have weight loss goals, and that's okay. I'm never going to tell somebody that they shouldn't, because everybody, we're all individual, and we've all got our own choices. All I do is I offer a different way. I offer a different approach because I help women to feel confident.
We're all different, aren't we?
Yeah. And I offer women to an approach that works on building that confidence before they reach their goal. Because how many times have you lost weight, got to where you need to be, and still not been happy? You've wanted to lose more, or you've regained it. We seem to think that when we reach this thin ideal, everything's going to be better. How about we actually think, how can I be more confident? How can I be happier? How can I be more successful? How can I be a better mum? How can I be a better partner?
How can I
Yeah,
be able to serve to others?
yeah.
So it's not about my weight only.
No, how can I be all these things? Be the person I want to be now, before I've lost all the weight. Why do I think that it's only when I lose the weight that I can be those things? It's
Yeah.
not true. It's just not true.
I just suggest all my clients, if you put weight on and your clothes don't fit you, don't try to get back into them.
No,
Because
no.
get rid of it. Get
Yeah,
rid of it. Don't
yeah,
don't move on because it's only going to remind you of the things that you were once, but we move on. We
yeah,
keep moving, we're changing. I mean, I got rid of all my clothes that no longer fit me.
yeah, yeah.
It's and I know, yes, I'm in fashion, but
Yeah,
I'm never going to be that skinny, and I'm not ever going to be that girl that wants to wear those dresses because I've changed. I've moved
yeah.
on.
We should, and we need to embrace that. People get so hung up on this, the fantasy that the first diet worked. You know, so many people think this is the reason why people keep going back to diets, because usually what happens is the first diet they ever went on, they dropped quite a bit of weight, they felt quite good, and then it just gets harder and harder and harder because your body adapts, you get sick and tired of it, all these kind of things. So people hang on to that fantasy of that first diet. This is why they keep going back. It's going to work. It's going to work. This one last diet. It's going to work. I'm going to lose the weight permanently, and I'm going to be happier. So you click onto that fantasy, and it's the same as well. Like you said, you know, we're never going to be our 18-year-old selves again. We're never going to be our 25-year-old selves again. And who wants to be? I'm quite happy with
I am too.
you know, I've had my experiences. I've learned my lessons. You know, I don't want to go back. And so why would I want to be that person again in that body again? And, you know, it's ironic though, because I have to say that, you know, and I'll be honest, I struggled with an eating disorder in my 20s.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's only now where and at that time, I was never happy. I was never, no matter what my weight was, it was never enough. It was never good enough. And I've got to say now, and I'm not going to sit here and say I don't have my challenges, because we all do. And I'm not going to sit here and say I wake up every day thinking, oh, you know, but I'm much more happier and more confident in my own body and my own skin now than I ever have been. And I think part of that is, as well, is that I accept that, you know, this is a continuum. And the other thing is, you know, when I talk to clients, I can't ever imagine looking in the mirror every day and liking what I see. And it's like, well, that's because that's never going to happen. You've got to accept that you're going to feel happier and more confident. You're going to begin to like what you see in the mirror more. But that doesn't mean to say you're going to look in the mirror every day and go, I love my body. I love how it looks. I love how it feels. That's just unrealistic. You know, so when you can accept that actually it's about this middle ground that's not fancy, it's not sexy, it just is, you know, then you'll be the happiest you can be.
Amazing. Oh, this is so good. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I really enjoyed our chat. One, I'm going to ask you before I let you go. I know you have a busy schedule. I'm going to ask you last question, which I asked all my guests on the interview. What does confident mean to you? And what tip you would give to other women?
Do you know something? Confidence to me is not something that just develops. It's not something I say that. It's not, confidence is not something that you are born with. Confidence is not something that is just given to you. To me, confidence is about perseverance. It's about building on tiny actions every single day, and just, you know, just accepting that things are not always going to be perfect. It's about accepting that things, you know, you have to learn from your mistakes and you have to just keep going. So for me, it's about tiny incremental actions, perseverance, and just keep going.
I love it. Don't give up. Keep on going.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rebecca. This has been great.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for having me. I could talk forever.
I'm going to put all on the show notes, all details, how people can contact you if they would like to contact you personally and be in touch with you for their events. Thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.